epic event as we now head into our, as Steve likes to say, penultimate game of the day. Back to Erangel, but the changes that have been in place, obviously introducing Tego, all the new weapons, as well as the new utility to be using, the emergency pickups, it's just been such an injection of absolute fun into the meta and into competitive PUBG.
And we really have seen all of it at different points in the game, let alone the fact, and this is something that actually was, I was just going to say it's different models, but this is something that some viewers who play normal modes in general maybe haven't thought too much about. It might not be the biggest impact, but as some of you might have noticed, we have blue zone nades now. With the implementation of Panzerfaust and Mortars, we have blue zone nades on all maps too. Through qualifiers, through tournaments in the past where we have had blue zone nades in competitive, they've exclusively been on Tego. But here for PGS2, they are now on all maps. So while it's not the biggest difference, it's still just one more of that. I mean, if it was the only difference, easy to work around. But there's one of a trillion new things that have been implemented, and sometimes you might just forget about it. And when you forget, well, those 10 damage a second, they can hurt real hard.
Well, you were mentioning it as well earlier when we were talking. The blue zone grenades really makes like things like shacks and small one-story buildings quite unplayable, especially if you're getting pushed because you have to play on the outside. Now, looking at this plane path, this was actually the most even plane path I think we've seen all tournaments, straight down diagonally on from the southwest to the northeast. Thank you very much.
No worries, man.
Yeah, all the teams are going to pretty much go where they want to, which has been the case for the most part as this tournament has gone, right? We've had that one Tego plane where it was kind of crashing, but even then a lot of the teams were able to stretch to the east if they wanted to. And this circle is going to be about as even as you want. Yeah,
it's even in terms of, I mean, we would really have to get creative with phase 1 circles on Erangel where we go, whoa, you know, it has to be like super edge heavy. But as even and simple as this circle is when you look at it from a map perspective, when you take into account the plane path and where all the teams are currently and will be going to rotate in from, Milta Power, Prison, Farm, Novo, Mansion, Lipovka, all these southeast areas of the map completely uninhabited. So where normally we'd see a pretty even spread of teams in and around the middle, and some of the teams that loot Milta Power, slowly creep their way further towards the center, there's going to be no one coming from there now. Like if you're E Arena now and you're the last team to jump out of the plane, you see this circle, I'm just hopping in a car and driving towards the power, full speed south. You know what, another team that is planning on doing that exact same thing right now? Luminosity. They see this circle, they go, great, this is a clear call for us. We go back to our home turf, and we're going to get it all to ourselves.
Yeah, exactly, and they know, again, as you pointed out, because of the plane path, because of how much of these was actually cut out, they should be able to get a free rotation here and be able to go right at home. They could even stop at Milta if they really wanted to and take a position from there or use that as a rotational foothold.
The only thing for them is they have spent quite a bit of time flying across. We saw they had to pop their parachutes early, get on vehicles, now transition the entire military, cross on over. In that time, other teams could, if you're a friendly fire, swung down to Milta. Not that they would do that, but you know, like there could be teams that have opted to move further east, so they can't just pedal to the metal all the way across. There's towards we can see already now kickstart out of the vehicle on the southern side. Just double check, make sure, do not, and that's the one lesson you learned early in a competitive tournament like this, don't take anything for granted. If you have a chance to stop and scout, for the love of God, stop and scout.
Yeah, and I can tell you from experience, that the thing is there is much more room for error when you're playing in a regional event, right? You do have teams that are either coming in through open qualifiers or teams that are not necessarily that used to competitive, right? At that level, usually have tier 2 teams kind of slipping in. But when it comes to making it to an international event, you have so little room for error. As you said, Uba, one of those players, right? Amazing at punishing. There's a lot of, not necessarily Ubas out there, but there's a lot of players that are up to that level that will absolutely punish you. A lot of teams that will absolutely punish you for making any sort of mistake. So yeah, the margin for error here at international events, especially of this caliber, very, very small.
A team who has been maybe not doing so much mistakes, but more just making decisions somewhat questionable would be the team. But now let's hop on over to, I believe, Uber and hear a little pre-recorded interview with
we got like
captain.
Second place 3 times today, and we were kind of confident the way we played today. We didn't have like as much kills as we wanted. We had like more placement points, I think, than kills. But it means that we have more potential to actually like kill like more players, get more points like during the next day. I think it was like actually okay-ish day for us. Not the best one, not the worst one. Like enough points for us. So yeah, we are pretty like confident about us going to tomorrow. Of course, our goal for PGS2 is to win the event. qualify for world event, and yeah, and be happy.
And that just shows you how absolutely dangerous that team is. When not only did they have a good first day, they're just like, yeah, we didn't really get enough kills.
I like the fact that we had a very humble translator. He was like, our goal is to win the event. Subtitles, our goal is to get to grand finals. It's like, don't downplay Uber. Whenever he sets his mind to something, he will try and get it. And that's why you see Navi up there, currently in 3rd and 77.
And I will say it as well, it's just been so impressive to watch Uber kind of, retire, stop playing for a considerable amount of time, and then come back, again, not only win PGC 2022, but just have so much success here. And Navi, again, a team as their greatest weapon being patience, just dominating. And it still scares me that he says, oh, yeah, we didn't really get enough kills. We didn't really get enough of what we wanted, as they sit in the top 3.
I mean, kind of choked on my breakfast this morning when I saw Alrian, the coach of Navi's tweet. Yeah, we had a pretty decent day yesterday. Like, what are you on about, bro? You averaged like 3rd place. Sure, you didn't get 15 kills every game like you've done in the past, but that was a phenomenal day 1 in a global tournament. Like, yeah, it was decent, but that's just it. I mean, when you have a team that plays so well, that are so, to some extent, consistent in the top. It's funny that I say that because there are also other tournaments they haven't even been able to qualify for, but in a tournament like this, when they play as well as they do, they just always want more, and that's the mentality you have to have in order to come out and win tournaments like these.
That's exactly the mentality you want the team to have as well. Not just one player. The whole team's mindset is, you know what, this isn't enough. Yeah, sure, we're in 3rd. Yeah, sure, we're going to go on to the next round, but we want to win this damn tournament.
I mean, we put it this way. You should always be satisfied when you have a good game, because if not, then you're just never going to have a good game, because you'll never be satisfied. So if you have a 17-kill win, yes, enjoy it. But always look at but how could it have been 18?
Exactly.
How could we have gotten even more off of it? Every game there's something, especially in PUBG of all esports, every game there will be things you could have done differently that could have made it even better than potentially already was.
Unless you're the Expendables last game.
Well, I mean, we're close to. There might be 1 or 2 things they could have done. Hit 1 bullet more there or something, but that's a game I'd gladly go back and watch a couple more times to go, what actually could they have done differently that would have been better?
I'm looking at a team that does to do a little bit better today, as they obviously did have the hot drops early, is going to be Day Trade as they stop here at C9 Hill. It's going to be a nice little position for them. I mean, they could kind of hang out here for a little bit. They're still in the circle on the southwest edge, but obviously they would like to come in a little more, especially when I look at the center of this. It does tend to go around that kind of death road that we see so often teams fighting.
And to go back to what I said just before, as we see what is potentially, not potentially, guaranteed to be a bridge camp. Are you ready to see the forest burning? Well, it's about to.
Oh, Munto. Good night, sweet prince. Will they let the first one through? No. That's the question.
They will. They will give him to Deva. Or just, oh, there you go.
Master comes
1
through.
and 2. No, not 2. Okay, 2.
Nice.
And there.
Very clean little bridge camp there.
Yeah, I mean,
done well.
It's the small things. It's get those mental games going early. If you're up against a team, or if you have a chance to early on in the tournament, like this is the light version of a hot drop in terms of mental games, right? Exactly, mental games early on in the tournament. Now, from now on, any single time Forest is going to be in a game where D plus Kia is in as well, they're going to be like,
they're going to be conditioned.
Maybe we should not be doing this. So D plus Kia can now be leaving this position, not scouted at all, but know they've just added a proper 20-30 seconds to Forest rotation, because they are going to forced to stop and scout.
Yeah, and I will say, again, D plus Kia, we talked about them. Wait a second, Scappy? Nah, I think Kio's just going to drive.
He hit the car. I was like, I'm going for this. And it's okay, little tag coming in.
Tags him in the shoulder. It's going to actually cause Pio to think about it a little bit and just drive around that little ice cream shack.
But angry.
Yeah, but D plus Kia, we had talked about yesterday, again, a little hesitant, not being as proactive. Today has been almost a completely different team. And then again, when we watched them defending positions, it's been nothing short of amazing. The way that they're able to turtle and then come out and really kind of destroy the teams around them have been very impressive so far.
Now, as we see D plus rotate their way on in, if we look back at the map for a moment, whether you're doing it at home, do exclamation mark map and you can see it, or whether you like us have the map feed available here, the southeast still, because of how the plane path was, extremely uninhabited. You only really have LG down there, and then you have Petrichor coming in from military now. Outside of that, you see the commotion down here in the southwest, and the only reason you always go like, wait guys, this is like a farm Milta circle. Why are teams fighting around Pachinki? Because 12 out of 16 teams had to rotate in from the west-southwest, and that's why we're seeing all the commotion in the area of the map where usually when we see these southeast circles, you never see this. Where do we normally see fights? Lipovka, Prison, all those funnels on the other side, but everyone now has been been rotating in west, which means south-southeast completely free.
Yeah, and you did a good job of pointing that out as well in the plane path, right? Like, yes, it was even. Yes, most of the teams got to go where they wanted to, but that really does come into play when you look at rotations, when you look at the macro.
Especially now, depending on where this next circle shifts. If we go anywhere east with this next one, it's going to be wild, because you normally have 3-4 teams down in that southeast direction, and now you don't. The thing is, players don't know. Good thing, though, is for the vast majority of the players, they're going to be in this one. And right now, going off of the Na'Vi interview we just had, if there is a team that thrives in this area of the map, regardless of whether they get the circles on their compound or not, that's Na'Vi.
Yeah, but this Death Road as well, I mean, it's called Death Road for a reason. That dirt road there that separates just to the north and south of where you actually do see Na'Vi playing is so devastating. It's very difficult to hold. There's a nice, there's a shack, there's a wizard tower around there, but it is hard to hold, especially if you are a team that is defending from multiple positions, as it often does happen. DG gonna find a kill there. Onto Olympus now as Scappy trying to return as the last member of Forest, putting some damage onto Gen G.
It seems like Korea is just united against Forest. They're like, yeah, we're going to give you a hard time in this one, boys. We know you looted north, we know you chilled for a while, but you're not getting inside this next circle.
So again, D+ now rotating around this road that we've been talking about with friendly fire up to the north, just a new compound there. They're going to take some shots. I want to know exactly where does D+ Kia think that they're going to end up?
Yeah. The question is, do they know where they're going to end up? I would imagine they go for the shack, and that's exactly where they're going. Uber trying to get away. Will he get away in time, though? I doubt it. A little push and shove comes through as Dava does get out of it. Damage done. Tried to flip the vehicle initially, I think, Zenith, but spun out himself. They do, though, manage to take out Uber. So as much as Na'Vi thrives in this area of the map, Uber did not have his fire escape ready, and he couldn't get out in time.
And that was the, I mean, he was actually making it somewhat out, but that T-bone coming out from Zenith was very, very smart. And that is going to cost Na'Vi Uba, but still, they're in a very good position here. They do have this little compound here with a double two-story, so they'll be fine for the time being. Yeah,
for the likes of Na'Vi, this is where, had they had 4 alive, this could be that 10-15 kill win. Now, with the lack of 1, regardless whether it be Uber, example, Milman, or Alia, now we go, what are the odds of you getting high double digits? Now this is probably, if they were to have a really good game off of this, would be a 6 kill win, 7 kill win, exactly. So the loss of 1 player when you are getting into these areas of the map, it becomes very difficult to maneuver through. Shen finds a Nonix. I'm not sure exactly where that took place. It's towards the Pi Road. Yeah, so it should be a risk coming through as I think he fell over the ridge. And Na'Vi, you can see here, now realizing that the pressure probably came to them a bit earlier. And EMEA teams don't really like to commit to this area of the map too soon. So maybe Na'Vi, I mean, I saw them holding their 2-1-1 split for a little while longer than, again, especially in global stage, what you'd usually be allowed to. Right. So great read, no fairness, by D+ to commit to the push and read the split. But now, we have up close fight here, Luminosity, trying to fend off against LG.
Rilla will find Ace-Lift there. There's been a lot of damage actually coming on both sides here. His Flood is also going to drive around and somewhat survive. Rilla going to push out, and he should be able to get that flush. They have to be careful, though, because the trades are going to be coming in from Petrichor as they're surrounding this warehouse.
Uber down on Na'Vi, Ike-Lift down on Petrichor. Big players getting taken out of the game early on now. Flood down as well, as Relo will try and reverse through the flames here and get out for safety. Should be able to, as I say that, though, the headshot does conflict. Can't find the second bullet, though, and I think off of that, Relo will be able to stay alive.
And it's just more troubles for LG early. I mean, even when they do manage to keep 4 up alive, they're just getting in these positions where they're not able to capitalize. Now, they did have that split, obviously, as you were saying, actually, EMEA and splits early, and oh, this is going to center right on that dirt road of death. And this is one of those circles that I will tell you from experience is very difficult to play, especially when you have so many teams already set up in this one.
This is where, if you look towards the north, as we see DD team rotate on in, this is where I like to see what Gen G makes of it. This is the what I would call normal Gen G situation. They sit on the edge for a long time. They wrap slowly on in. We saw them have a phenomenal win in the Miramar game earlier. But how do they do this? Because we're like way more often than not, you will see Gen G forced to wrap in edge late in a crowded area of the map. So what kind of magic can PO pull out of the hat as they make their approach from here?
Speaking of magic, it's exactly the opposite of what Dana was dealing with right now, as Tai Lu is just peppering Loki there from distance. They were able to get Anonyx up, and they do have a nice position there on the north edge for now in that forest there just to the northwest of Pie Road, but they're also going to have to deal with friendly fire as well as Twisted Minds in a very nice split as well. So Danawa have their work cut out for them, as Ty Lu also needs to find a rotation in, whether that's going to be a wide wrap to the east of Shelter or going into the dip there just above that road. We'll have to see.
Gen.G clearly doing donuts right now, trying to figure out where exactly the pressure has been applied from PO, doing PO things. Here we go, back to it. Looking forward, trying to see if he can find the knock up on the roof above. Maybe he's going to send EJ a bit further forward, allow for Batulin to get 1 or 2 shots onto the car, use him as bait, and then get the knock on the roof, or allowing for the rest of the team to push on forward. Or maybe Ty Lu will do it for them. Yeah, exactly. Just sit back and wait a little while longer as Ty Lu runs straight through the middle of the Twisted Minds 2-2 split. Or where are they opting to set up shots?
Just threaded that needle, but even still, they're going to have to deal with the shots coming out from the roof here from Perfectus and the other split of Twisted Minds. And again, I agree. Where are they going to go? We saw this send earlier from D plus Kia, as now Ty Lu is just kind of aimlessly driving.
They have to collapse on D plus. There's nowhere else for them to go at this point. I feel like they've committed too deep to not. Is this where we're chilling now? Is this where we're camping? I don't feel like that's a safe space to be. We'll see though. We'll see for how long they're sticking around. Yeah, I think they're realizing now as well. Yeah, you know what? Let's heal and just get the hell out of here. But again, you're in an area of the map where cars are no longer really prevalent. You're Potato Hill, early phase 4. People are forced to run around the open. This is one of the hardest areas in all of the Wrangle to get a proper fight in, because you cannot use your vehicles properly. Everyone will see you, get proper angles. You can prone behind a rock. It's going to grant you the cover from one angle, but leave you exposed to the other.
Just like that, Petrichor will go out in 15th again. They've had a pretty solid day overall, but the last couple games have been quite rough for them, and that just shows you how difficult not only the lobby is, but some of these circles. As you said, this is absolutely one of the most difficult areas to play on the map in the circle. You would think there's some other ones maybe around like school or some of the areas where it's more open on the west side, but no, this circle is very difficult.
Especially with 53 alive. So many people in and around here, making it really, really hard to find anywhere to lay low. Circle swings a little bit west. Again, Na'Vi really wishing they had all 4 up in this one. That's going to be a, pretty much regardless of how we see it, unless if they get full on pulled up by multiple teams, should be a good game for the boys in yellow. We'll see though as Rello has snuck his way up to E Arena. I don't think they have any clue that both him and Snake, so this was now Kickstart is driving around the corner. They might just have given up the info, but we'll see if they get anything off of it. Xe falls as we have which another fight. That's Gen.G against Sonic as Mime instantly taken out by Taman.
Yeah, they actually were looking at the fight, eyeing it with Twisted Minds, but they've actually shifted here just to the west to now take the fight with Sonic's. Mime's going to go down immediately, which now leaves Tickleton in a little bit of a rough situation as the only one in this compound. You see Huynh trying to wrap around on the west side as well to get a different angle, but a lot of utility is going to be coming Tig's way now.
Yeah, Gen.G fully committing to this one again. We wanted to see what they can do on the edge. How can they maneuver through these ones where the circles don't go in their favor? And so far, it looks like full control play from Gen.G. First, they spread out to try and take control, try to assess the situation. Now they found the weak spot. They instantly find the first knock, and now they're setting up that smoke wall and wrapping around the right side, trying to isolate angles from their opponents.
And they know exactly where Huynh is. Great heads-up play as well, but look at Twisted Minds. They're coming in on the backside of this. They hear it, and they want to get something, but now we're over here to question mark and the Expendables, and look at this coming right in. They're actually going to find a knock there and go for the trades. Tanvu and Delwyn still alive in this one-story building.
Fights happening all over the map, and we're trying to keep track of all of them at the same time. Expendables still alive with 2 who swing back up towards Gen.G, and the Sonic's hunt, which has commenced. Now we do still have Twisted Minds up on the hillside too, and I think that's what Gen.G is now starting to realize. We have to respect the fact that if we get off this angle too soon, we will be in trouble.
Danawa as well, trying to get a piece of that fight. We saw earlier Luminosity trying to get rid of E Arena, which they were able to do, but again, Danawa was so good at finding those opportunities of those third parties. And still, Twisted Minds now taking the fight to Gen.G as they were chasing down the Sonics.
And it's Tickleton from down low that finds Perfectix on the push. All these 3 teams now just tangled up with one another. PO over the top spots. Luke can't quite connect. Spiro, lots of damage in return as the double headshot comes through.
Recovery possible here for Twisted Minds, but they need to get rid of EJ and Gen.G as quickly as possible. This would actually be a wonderful position for them to just put themselves on a foothold to rotate in. Even on foot, this would be great. But again, Gen.G only down 1 member right now, and that's PO knocked. Potential to get him up is there as long as they can smoke. The nade here now on the other side of things between Daytrade and Danawa, and
Yeah.
this is what we're talking about. Death Road is just so difficult to fight around.
So hard to maneuver over here, and teams are falling like flies. Only Soul left alive for Danawa as he's trying to make an escape from this area of the map, try to catch up to the circle as he's slowly making his way further towards it. He's not even on our map feed on the right-hand side. Circle, well, Na'Vi. I don't know if it's Na'Vi or if it's because Tyloo is there. I think it's Tyloo are like better magnets for circles these days.
Tyloo, yeah, definitely. This is also one of those times where you're Na'Vi and you're like, man, I really wish we had Uber.
Thanks, Tyloo, for sticking around. We get circles going towards our compound. So, will fall. Norrøns finds one more, and Daytrade finally getting a good game put together here as they continue to do damage. Now, friendly fire, taking more casualties. I believe they already lost Page and Roth before, so should be just Roth left alive. And as I say that even him, he's going to fall as the Korean sandwich comes from each side, and that is going to be friendly fire out.
This is still a very dangerous fight here for Twisted Minds, even though they are up against a 3-man and a duo there of Sonics. They still have to pour over that hill. Those angles are not favorable, and now they're actually going to opt to take the vehicles. I like this, rotating a little bit more to the north as they go east here, and just getting a little bit of a better foothold as they move forward in this fight.
How does Twisted wrap in on this? I think they really want to make sure. I mean, of course, they want to take out Gen G, but how do they position below? They know they have Sonics on one side. They know they have to worry about teams from behind in D plus Kia. So how much can they commit to the hills? But I think Gen G as well is realizing with the circle closing in now, we can't stick. Like, either we push now or we don't push at all. But if you push down the hill to Sonics, you have Twisted Minds right behind you. Now they're fortifying the hill. They know we need to deal with Gen G, and they're trying to do that just now.
The problem is these two teams are going to shadow themselves pretty much all the way up into that edge in the north, and EJ is going to go down there as Taman now trying to hold the line so that maybe they can get a res as DG on the low ground. This shelf is very difficult to play as well, especially when you have a team underneath you.
Exactly. DK being a nuisance to Twisted Minds, and same thing down below from both Expendables, Na'Vi, Tyloo, and Sonics, trying to prevent Gen G from getting down that hillside. But somehow, somehow, Twisted Minds are still alive, and I think that's, I mean, as much as D plus Kia has applied pressure, they're not really kind of following up on the pressure they apply, so allowing for Twisted Minds to reset could just be dangerous for them. But, of course, D plus in a 2-2 split having to fend off against Daytrade 2, they have a lot on their plate already.
The fact that Gen G has actually survived this long is very impressive. It's what?
That's not a player, DG.
Oh, DG is just trying to shoot at anything that he can. Meanwhile, David back down to just 5 HP, gonna go for that heal. But again, this area is so difficult to find. And you can see it's just a downward slope all the way down onto the road, and even the shelf that they were on is not really that great.
I feel like that's when you do when someone shoots you with a VSS. You just shoot at anything that looks like a person. Where are those shots coming from? I can't figure this out, but DJ, yeah, well, he sure destroyed that bush. Let's see now if they trade the ones. I mean, they have a spot on the south of the circle to maneuver in, but I like their proactiveness. Why give space to D plus Kia if we can hold them back and also play a center spot on the southeast?
And if you're a team like Tyloo, though, watching all this chaos around you, you are very happy overall, especially the Na'Vi. But the problem here for Na'Vi is they really haven't been able to get as many kills as they want.
They can't see anything from where they are.
No, and I mean, the circle is great for them. They're happy about it. This is going to be their opportunity, though, to start to maybe spread out a little bit on the south side to look for those kills.
I feel like we're reaching a point now where people are going to be complaining about Tyloo and circles. There's definitely going to be people in chat feeling a little, if you're fanning on another team, feeling a little unfortunate. But we'll see as we follow on through. Tyloo's that tight, Na'Vi doing the exact same thing. Everything else burning as these edges are getting so much more difficult to fight on.
And Daytrade, though, for all intents and purposes, have done a wonderful job here. 7 kills cleaning up this east side. And I think, personally, fighting from the east is actually one of the most difficult parts of this road. And Daytrade have navigated it quite wonderfully now, as they do have to deal with Twisted as they come in. And shots coming out from Belmoth. He's going to find Spyro.
7 kills. They have Flash knocked, but should be able to get him rest on up. Daytrade again. I mean, when they're not... again, we kind of crowned them, the team that got their region on the global kind of awareness board. And here they are showing up as best as they possibly can. Expendables, a team we've been talking a lot about this tournament so far as well. Not quite so this time around. They fall in 8th.
So the onus here is still very much onto Twisted, as Americano is going to find a nice little headshot. Jammer pack is done, so this blue is really going to start to chunk as we see Shen in the distance taking care of Sonics and the last member in Hwin.
Do you think Belmont knows where Americano is?
Yes, I believe he does.
Yes, I would imagine as well. So for Petulans, do not peek on over. Just let him die as a blue. Run on forward, try to get the safety, and that's it. Belmoth able to clean sweep that one. 8 kills for Daytrade, and they ain't done yet.
Nice, Sweet Princess. D+K again has been impressed me though. Their ability to be proactive and their adjustments that they've made today has been wonderful. So even though they go down here, not bad at all. As Flash is gonna find a nice little headshot there with the mini onto Batulin as Perfectus is trying to drive down with his teammate in tow as they're going all the way down the hill. But Shen is ready for this and he's gonna be right there. He's 5-1, but the trade will at least keep them alive momentarily. And they should be able to get Shen up as that's his second knock.
This would have been a situation for Na'Vi to push out, but they have DD team on their southern side, so it's simply too risky for them to try and push up north because of the terrain they would allow for DD team to acquire. Because the Emo pick has snuck all the way up just outside of the compound. I would imagine that Na'Vi is aware that there is pressure coming in from this side of the circle because DD team and Expendables were fighting just before. I think that's part of the reason why they're looking north, but they're not fully committing to making a move.
That being said, they do have Alia in that one story behind. That way, if anyone does approach, he should be able to hear that. So very nice again. Na'Vi, their greatest weapon is always going to be patience, and they're utilizing that here.
Sure is Xiaoyang, solo player in a check. Nate comes through, damage those from the bullets as well. As Flash finds one, that's a blue zone Nate right in his face. He's definitely dead there. So Xiaoyang taking out as day trade again. I mean, once you make late game, once you don't fight in the early game, you just need that one little circle going in your favor. Just like that, 10 kills, all 4 still alive. Yet another APAC presence. We've seen Cerberus, we've seen Expendables, and here day trade are as well.
That region absolutely showing up here at PGS2 in a big way. It's not just one team, it's multiple teams, and they are really showing why this region is starting to shine as the circle here is pushed out. Na'Vi, for the most part, they do have one building left, but this is such a difficult place to fight.
DD team is wrapping up on the western side. They're going straight up behind Tyloo. This might just be the opening that Na'Vi needed. Wrapping out early, not waiting for Tyloo to be forced into a fight, not waiting for Na'Vi to try and make a play. They're just saying, oh, Na'Vi want us to distract Tyloo for a moment. Let's get at it. Good thing for Tyloo is that they can reset as fast as they can.
Yeah, but Mamu's still on the backside of this. I actually kind of wish DD team wouldn't have made that play so early. If they would have made that a little later, I feel like that would have been the play for them, but definitely a misplay coming out from them. Mamu will be the last one alive here looking for Shen, but he's just going to have to make the run. Yeah, see, why not do this later?
It's again one of those where if you have a chance to stop and scout, if you have a chance to make this not into a one sprint play, but a 2 stops along the way style play, then maybe that would have been the thing to go for. They weren't in a hurry. 1 minute and 19 till this circle is closed in. But the stress got to them again. Limited land experience on the team. They got the jitters. They thought, now it's time to make a move. And Mamu could only sit back and go, well, yeah, not full. Okay, never mind. It's too late because Shen killed you.
All right, bye, kids.
Exactly. And here he is, one rock to work with, up against Longs and Shen, and not a whole lot he can do.
No, and now Tyloo again split up on that road. You saw Shen now with quite a lot to play on the west, as it is going to be a nice little shelf for him to be on, and that wizard tower as well. But Na'Vi, what are they going to do here? Obviously, yes, they're in circle. They have the opportunity. I feel like their best play would be to wrap towards the east when they get the opportunity, when the fight breaks out between Tyloo and Day Trade.
They will have to commit. Again, this is where Foreman and Na'Vi would have been very good, because if they wrap east, they have the wizard to worry about.
Still a very nice angle here from Alia.
Yeah, like this play up on the roof, try and see if they can catch the opponents off guard. They will be able to get full vision on the road. Issue is they will have to make him play real soon on this. He's allowing, for example, to wrap up. He's trying to make sure that Day Trade doesn't cover this angle. They do, but from the other side of the road, which allows a foothold in, for example. But you can see, because Longs is downstairs, they've realized this just before, and they're holding the staircase still. It's actually allowing Na'Vi a foothold into this circle.
Example cannot go down here, though.
Oh, no.
If he goes down, that will pretty much be the end of Na'Vi. However, if he can get a knock here or two, that would actually be the opening that they would need.
You say Example can't go down. I say Alia can't go down. Because even if Example falls, Alia can still suppress from above. So if Alia falls, he is the one that's protected. And you can see he's essentially playing 1v4 PUBG right now. If he falls, they have to either wrap back down and try and rest him, which is going to be hard with time working against them, or try and make an aggressive play off it. But with Mollies and Nates now coming in off of them, they know exactly where their position is. Na'Vi is making a play here. They want to take out Day Trade before having to worry about Tyloo. And the first nade comes through, taking down Flash.
And that first nade is going to be huge, but as you said, it is going to be Tyloo, though, that's going to see all this going on.
On fire?
Is there another nade there? It is. It might knock both.
Woo!
No! It takes down Norris, but Belmoth now putting up that deployable shield for whatever cover he can. Poochus has to be a hero right now for these teams.
They have the compound for so long, haven't had to use any utility. As I say that, though, they've also looted here, sat here, and been very limited in how much they could find. Nothing in the hands of Melman. Might have a blue zone nade, might have a flash, but that is going to be it. And look at this dry run run up the hillside. They have the smokes blooming for now. You see Ali is lobbing them from the other side, but it's very, very limited what they have to work with up close when it comes to utility.
Now Tyloo trying to find the angles, trying to look for an opportunity.
Oh my God.
Nade,
Oh my.
the bounce wasn't good. It was so close to being the nade it needed to be. But 7 kills on the side of Tyloo, and they will start to push out now as damage is coming back towards the side of Na'Vi.
Millman peeks on over as Example falls back down. Is that got you, buddy? I'll defend. Shen from the other side peeks up and day trade. It looked good for them, but Tyloo knew exactly when to punch. Longs is trying to wrap underneath. Tyloo is taking the fight to both these teams at the same time as Shen. With one nade takes out day trade.
And 7 kills on the side of Shen. Longs now with the opportunity to get a knock, but now the advantage is somewhat in the side of Na'Vi as they throw a nade, barreling past Longs, and they realize this. I love this going for the trade.
Alia, damage done from Shen up above, so he's gonna have to stop for a moment. Example trying to get at least just some heals on foot. We saw Longs just before. I don't think he has any spare bullets left in his weapon. He has no vest either. He has 4 nades. Now is the time to use your utility, my friend. You won't get more chances than this.
Shen spots one. Not that many bullets. Oh, he's 9 bullets.
Oh, he can't get the flush on him either, or the takedown at least. Example now wrapping on forward, catches him with a nade in hand. That nade is going to be good, though, at least some damage done. But Alia able to get heal that up fast enough, and maybe they're just going to have to concede this because they don't have anything to fight with.
Shen also only has, I think, 62 reserve rounds in his weapon. Longs just
if you're Longs here, you just have to bait the attention. You have to say, Shen, I know it's a tall order, but you got to pull off a hero playmate. I'm going to yell, I'm going to scream, I'm going to wave my arms in the air and have them look my way. But you better find 2 instantly or we won't win this game.
The problem is, though, Na'Vi is now realizing they have the advantage. They're taking control of the center dot now. There is a crate there. Oh! That nade was massive! All of a sudden, it's a 2v1.
He has 1 mag, not even a quarter mag to work with, but 1 nade takes down 2, and just like that, the game turns in that favor. Now let's see him on the side of the peak, over the top, brings it home for Tyloo. What a turn of events. 9 bullets in the chamber, but 1 nade was all that they needed.
That one nade.
The second place curse. The second place curse for these Na'Vi boys is absolutely freaking real.
I cannot believe Longs, with nothing to his name but grenades, was still able to find that double. The reason why Na'Vi was even in that position was because they knew they could go for the trade, but it was just too close, and Tyloo will somehow manage to pull that one out of the fire as Na'Vi is relegated to permanent second.